Hello and welcome to this little CCB video blog. Now today I'm going to be talking about a very, very sad moment in bass fishing history. And that is the death of Forrest L. Wood. Now this is a two-part video. I'll get into the rest of it obviously at the end of this. But right now what I want to do is tell you the influence that this man had. And there's a reason why I'm going to get into it and tell you about this man, Forrest Wood, and how it is incredibly, incredibly significant as to who he was in the sport that we love of bass fishing. Now, Forrest Wood is the creator of Ranger boats. He actually created Ranger and founded it back in 1968. Now, the history of bass fishing and bass fishing as a sport was just getting started back in the 60s. And this man, Forrest Wood, is the person that came up with the concept of a bass boat. All of us now know, as a bass fisherman, we know what a bass boat is. I mean, Ranger. He invented Ranger. That's one of the boats that people dream of. But now we have Triton, we have Skeeter, we have Nitro, we have Bass Cat. I mean, but he's the person that came up with this in the birth of our sport that we completely and totally are immersed in and loved. And it's a huge deal on YouTube. Bass fishing videos, everything else is huge. He's the person that said, okay, now we have a sport, but we don't have a boat. I mean, we need to design something that, you know, the deck, something that you can be on that gives you a stable platform so you can focus on bass, to eventually live wells, to electronics being hooked on them, to pretty much everything we know to this day as a bat boat. As a bat boat? As a bass boat was invented and was the concept of Forrest Wood. I mean, all the advancements we have right now, all the advancements and just the way fishing is done and the advancements in lures, advancements of everything came from the fact that we as bass fishers need a boat that would allow us to do what we need to do to chase down these little green fish. And this all came from him back in 1968, right at the birth of bass fishing as a sport. And then a lot of other people don't know, and I have no idea why they don't know this, but I'll get into that later in the video. FLW. Remember, for years and years it was bass. Bass was the major tournament trail. There's a lot of other stuff and trails that came in and out, but FLW was the first trail that became a major trail that competed against bass. And what does FLW stand for? Well, yeah, now it stands for Fishing League Worldwide. But originally, hello, FLW, Forrest L. Wood. Hello. Why do we have the Forrest Wood Cup? One of the pinnacles of any bass fisherman, and what we look at as tournament bass fishermen's pinnacles. It's like, you know, like any other sport, the pinnacle. It's either the Classic or the FLW, the Forrest Wood Cup. Those are the pinnacles of our sport. And he was one of the leading people that I mean, like I said, nowadays, any bass fisherman, you go, oh, what kind of boat's that? Oh, it's a bass boat. Oh, what kind of boat's that? Oh, it's a bass boat. Back then, when he invented this and came up with the concept, there was no such thing as a bass boat. He invented a bass boat. And now, later on, I think it was late 90s, 98, 97, something like that, FLW. One of the biggest other tournament series that we know that led to the Forrest Wood Cup, one of the pinnacles of bass fishing, that it's his name that's attached to it. Forrest Wood Cup. Okay, so that's kind of the first part of this video. Is the fact that, yes, Forrest Wood Cup, he is somebody that is such an influencer and somebody that allowed our sport, the sport that to this day, even with me doing this right now, people are just addicted to and love. And he was one of the forefathers of that. So now I'm actually going to kind of transition into the second part of this with the whole new YouTube generation. And I have a magazine here, and this is kind of funny. That's kind of where I'm going with this. This is kind of a transition here. Here's somebody that a lot of YouTubers might know. BLAT, Brian Littimer. Belat. And what's he on? He's on the cover of the FLW magazine. Yes, that's right, FLW. Forrest L. Wood. Yeah, I know now it's Fishing League America. It's been sold, whatever. But this is kind of what I'm getting at here with the YouTube thing, is Belat. A lot of people would see him and go, oh, I know who that is. That's Belat. Because he's a YouTube influencer. Yes, he's on Tournament Trail, but he's somebody that's a YouTube influencer. And kind of the reason for this video is that Forrest died on the 24th. I learned about it on the 25th. I went live. I went live at Pinot. And I talked to 4 different bass fishermen. Big time, you know, had like 8 poles, had all the stuff. I mean, serious bass fishermen. All 4 of them. I said, it's a really sad day. Forrest Wood died. And all 4 of them said, who's Forrest Wood? I was like, what? What? How do you not? What? And 2 of them had like high-end kayaks and all the gear. They had the, you know, they had the GoPro on there. They were filming themselves. They had like the jerseys. And they're like, who's Forrest Wood? I'm like, I was dumbfounded. I'm like, what? You're obviously way into bass fishing and the concept of it and filming yourself, and you don't know who Forrest Wood is. I mean, how'd you not know? Forrest Wood Cup! Hello? How? And I don't know, for me at that point, it was kind of like, really? That's like, you know, I'm a skateboarder, and I was at the birth of skateboarding in the 70s. And I skated with Tony Hawk. Now, me going to a skate park and going, Tony Hawk died today. And the skaters going, who's Tony Hawk? I mean, I know that probably wouldn't happen because Tony's much more influencer on social media than that. But still, it's the same concept. Tony Hawk was someone that took the sport of skateboarding and brought to the level it's at now and brought it into the limelight and made it a sport that's respected. Same thing that Forrest Wood did in his evolution and everything else, and the building of Ranger and all that, took it to this level that is just freaking amazing. And what has led us to what is now. But suddenly, YouTube influencers and this new generation that's happened in the last 10 years that are so into like the Guggen Squad and all these other people, and they have no idea who Forrest Wood is. To me, that's almost more sad than the fact that he passed away. The fact that I can talk to people, bass fishermen, and when I tell them that Forrest Wood passed, and they have no idea who he is. How can you not? But that's just sort of the new YouTube generation. I mean, I follow YouTube. Obviously, I follow YouTube. I've been on for 13 years. I have over 1,200 videos. But I just can't understand that. Like, if I would have said John B died today, everybody would have known. Or anybody else that's a YouTube influencer within the huge boom and industry of YouTube bass fishing now and how popular the videos are. But I was totally blown away. I'm like, really? How could you not even know who this incredible person is? That if basically, maybe if he wasn't around and it didn't happen, the industry might not be something that ever took off. Yet, they have no idea who he is. I mean, yes, I only talked to 4 people, but even those 4 people, it was just the 4 random people, and they didn't know who he was. I'm like, how can you not know who Forrest Wood was? I mean, especially with the Forrest Wood Cup. You're that into bass fishing. You obviously you have high-tech kayaks right here. You have like 8 poles. You have all the tab. You have Guggen baits, stickers, and all these jackal and all these, and you don't know who Forrest Wood is? I don't know. It was just very sad to me, and that's kind of why I had to make this video. And I, like I said, well, I said earlier that I follow a lot of it, and you look at the amount of views that YouTube influencers that are bass fishing, like the Guggen Squad and Alex Rudd and all those people, you look at the amount of views they get compared to the amount of views that actual tournament and people that design our baits and work on our baits, the views they get. It's like, Even KVD, I watched some of his video he puts up, and they get no views. So, I don't know. It's just sad that YouTube and the new YouTube generation doesn't even know or respect the history of what has led to the sport that they spend so much time investing in and filming and everything. Yeah, that's why I had to make the video. I just don't see it. I don't. It's just confusing me. YouTube's confusing in the first place, but this just sort of made it even more sort of, what? You don't even know who Forrest Wood is. Okay, that's going to wrap it up for this video. It's very, very sad. Yeah, this man was amazing. What he created, what he did, what has become the sport was the foreground that this guy set with Ranger and everything else he did for the sport. So I just really wish, I don't know, I just wish the younger generation knew more about the history of the sport they love. Alright guys, till next vlog.